years ago, I lost a friend. I used to work with this person, and okay, I so I think she liked me. I'm pretty
Hmm.
sure she did, and she kind of lured me to her house for some like business thing, like some presentation. At first, I didn't think it was going to be at her house, but then it ended
Presentation, I
up.
bet.
She didn't present shit, but anyway, it didn't go like nothing happened. You know, her mom was there or whatever, and it was like a
Ah,
business presentation. It was like some pyramid scheme thing. So anyway, we did all of that or whatever, but I was pretty good friends with her. And as the friendship kept growing, she tells me that she starts seeing some guy and that he was from I want to say he was from Dubai and he had a lot of money. That's what she said. And she was telling me like he's kind of telling her how much he loves her and that he wants to buy her all of the stuff and take care of her. And I was like, "Oh, wow, that's cool. Go for it, right?" And she was like, "Yeah, but there's one thing and I need your advice." And I'm like, "What?" And she says, "He claims to have slept with over 5,000 women."
no.
Jesus.
So I said, "You mean how old is he?" And she's like, "Oh, he's like 32."
That's
So I
crazy.
was like, I don't think I've met that many humans in my life, let alone slept with them. I don't even know how someone would have time for that.
That's all. Yeah.
And she's like, "Yeah, I believe him." And he's kind of had a lot of girlfriends. He's not really good looking, but he's got money. So I said, "Oh," so I said, "So so what do you think?" And she goes, "Well, how far should I go with him?" And I'm like, "It's not really my business or whatever." But she kept kind of pushing it. So finally I said, "Honestly, you're just gonna be another number to that 5,000. If he's had 5,000 girls or even
Just
anywhere close to that,
5,001.
all you are is just part of that number. Like, you really think you're gonna be the special person?" And she got offended. And she says, "So what are you saying? Like, I'm not a special person?" And I'm like,
Not if you've slept with 5,000, like the person.
right. I said, like, quite honestly, like, no, like there's nothing extraordinary about her. Like, she wasn't like some amazing person. She worked at a fucking call center. Like, what I'm saying? Like, not to shit on her or anything, but I'm just viewing it from his perspective, right? Anyway, that ended our friendship.
Mm.
Like,
Oh,
she got pissed off and we didn't talk anymore. And I'm totally fine with that. But
I can relate.
you can relate. Oh, okay. Well, then Dame, you're in it today. So, guys, just so you guys know, prepping for the show, I was gonna talk about this story. Um and this story, I got reminded of the story from some article that I read. So I want to share the article with you, but we got into this conversation and apparently, Dame just sometimes he just says things and it doesn't come out right. So anyway, and Patricia's responding to that. I'll leave it to her and him to talk about it. But let's get to the story. So that leads me to think about body counts.
Hmm.
So I want to ask you guys before I get into the story.
Man.
Now, I know nobody likes to reveal their body count. So I'm just going to ask you, is your body count north or south of 20? Dame?
North.
Wow. Patricia?
Wait, no, explain what north means. Is it like higher or lower? Like
Higher. North
higher than
would be
20?
higher, south would
Like
be
you've
lower.
slept with more than 20 people? Is that what that means? Like you've
That's
slept
what
more than.
that's what that means,
Oh, no,
Patricia.
definitely no.
So you're
Very
south
south.
of 20. Okay.
Like
I am also south of 20. So
I'm not surprised by both answers.
what am I like? Disgusting or
Wow.
something?
No, I'm not surprised that you're south, and I'm not surprised that other people are north.
Well,
Mm.
Dame,
Yeah.
that sounds like a little judgy to me, what she just said. Care to respond?
No, I'm gonna let it go.
All right. Well, The reason why I'm thinking about all of this stuff, by the way, if you guys care to share, are you north or south of 20 in your body count? Please leave a comment. But there's this this is person, his name is Moulay Ismail. He was the emperor of Morocco back in the 1700s. So apparently, according to this article, he fathered 888 children within the
Impossible.
span from 1697 to 1727. Now, according to the researchers, they published a paper in a journal Plus
30
One.
years.
In 30 years, that means on average every day he would have to have slept with 1.43 women to 1.63 times in a day's time to achieve that number of children. He would have had to, I guess, sleep with them or impregnate them or whatever it is,
So for
a certain amount. So
every day for 30 years, he was
He had
sleeping
to have-
with 1 to 2 people.
1 to 2 people a day for 30 years.
So that should tell you right there that that's impossible.
It's not impossible.
So if you're an
It's-
emperor,
It's
if you're an emperor and your day
who
to
would
day
want to do that?
is just to have different women in there, right? Maybe that was his nightly routine or morning routine or whatever. You know, they weren't about pulling out, and there was probably no condoms or no kind of protection, and there you have it. It kind of makes sense to me.
What you said this was in the 1600s?
Mhm.
I mean, I can't see someone having sex with having sex at least once a day for 30 years. There's just no way.
That's pretty ambitious. That's a lot.
No. I
It's
mean, this
possible.
person was never sick. He didn't go to war. He didn't have meetings. Like, I don't know.
He didn't have meetings in 1600.
I
Maybe
don't know.
maybe he had meetings while he was having sex. Maybe it was just that
Very-
kind of vibe. Yeah.
It was very.
Yeah, I don't
He was the
know.
emperor, so I mean, people just look the other way.
I don't know. People just be believing stuff that they read. Like, I don't believe it. I mean, people still to this day in 2023 think Jesus is white. So
Well, it reminds me of this scene in what's the show we're watching? The Queen. What's the name of the
back
show?
in my good grace.
What's the
Queen
name of the
Charlotte.
show?
Queen Charlotte.
Okay, so there's a scene where the king comes to visit the queen, and they go at it at the dinner table, full of all of the room's full of their employees.
It's also a show.
Right, but it's based on
But they did have 13 kids.
This is my point. They had 15.
Let me ask you something, Patricia. So you find this unbelievable. So okay. So Will Chamberlain, do you know who Will Chamberlain is?
No.
It's kind of hard to describe who he was. He was a basketball player.
Okay.
One
The
of the
only player to
greatest.
ever score 100 points. He's the most freakish athlete I think probably I've ever seen. He won high jump contest, massively huge.
Okay.
He would be able to pick up grown men like they were kids. Like just he was a Shaquille O'Neal of his day,
Okay.
in the 60s and 50s. But in many ways, he was a bigger and stronger man than Shaquille O'Neal, if that's even, if you could even comprehend
Awesome.
that.
Yeah.
But anyway, Will Chamberlain has claimed to have slept with over 20,000 women in his lifetime. Again, that's one of those numbers where people are just, like when you calculate it and you do the
With-
math, he's doing
With
more
over how many
sex than
women?
20,000.
Ugh, that's so disgusting.
So do you believe that number, Dame?
No. Oh.
I mean, it's so ridiculous that I don't think why would somebody make up such a ridiculous number?
And
Because they wanna be
Patricia, you certainly
ridiculous.
don't believe in it.
I mean, so clearly I've never seen this guy. I don't know who he is, whatever. But if he's like huge and big and muscular, or like his career has always been like bigger than life,
Everything he
everything
did
has
was
been-
overindulgence, right? Everything.
maybe things are smaller and he made his sexual life bigger than life because he had to keep up.
I don't know if you sleep with that many women if that's the reason, but
Because
you
you
know,
don't. That's what I'm saying. So I'm thinking that maybe he wanted everything in his life has been bigger than life. He wanted that. And 20,000 women, that's first of all, that's disgusting. And second
according
of
to
all,
him,
it's
this wasn't like a lot of these weren't one-on-one encounters. So
of course this this
he'd have
sounds
three to four women at a time.
listen,
Patricia, you look totally
listen,
disgusted.
listen. These are the kind of facts that you guys need to tell me off camera so I can have
Keep in mind, this is like what, in the 70s,
Right,
60s,
60s and
70s.
70s, right.
So that kind of is in line for
we
that
need to do
era.
them like
Remember in
not that I have been
in the hippie time, that was everybody was, partaking in these kind of
Free love.
yeah.
yeah, like I don't think he performed well enough for 20,000 women.
Who said he had to?
Well, if you're
He's Will
sleeping with
Chamberlain. He doesn't have to.
no, but if he's sleeping with 20,000 women, he had to do some kind of performance. Unless you're counting whoever's in the room. And then that could have been one night. Do it, with an arena filled of people.
Well, it kind of makes Nick Cannon having 12 kids from 6 different women kind of pale in comparison. Because I'd imagine Will Chamberlain has a bunch of kids floating around there if his number is even close to reality.
Like,
not quite
out of
888 children, but
why not? I mean, that would be low odds out of 20,000.
but yeah. So
Nick Cannon is disgusting, but more disgusting are the women that are with Nick Cannon. I'm tired of the math. I just want to talk about disgusting how Nick Cannon is, but the women are worse.
So I guess that
Nick
leads
Cannon
to the
is
question,
disgusting
right?
for having 12 children.
No, he's disgusting for having multiple sexual partners with like overlapping each other.
So here's my question then to you, Patricia. So we're talking about body counts.
Mm-hmm.
So what number do you think is to the point where not only is it disgusting, but it says something inherently off about that person? Is there a number that like a certain amount?
This might be an unpopular opinion, right? But I just think there's no like 1, 2, 3. If you're with someone and you're also with 2 or 3 other women or just one other person and you guys are having unprotected sex, that's just disgusting. I don't care how normal it is or how many people do it or whose cousin, sister, brother did it. It's still disgusting.
Yeah, but that's not what he asked you.
No, there should not be, this question should not be asked. It should be just one person. That's it.
For your body count?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking like
That's why you say you didn't answer the question. She's answering her own questions, I guess.
Yeah, I'm answering.
I'm
asking and answering my own question.
I'll ask again. So, at what number body count do you feel like it gets to the point where okay, there's something off with that person? Why do they need so many partners in their life?
Yeah, north of 20.
North of 20. Okay.
I knew she was gonna say that.
Well, Dame, you're disgusting and you're immoral.
Yeah, apparently.
No, like as an adult, like you can have all the partners that you want to have. I don't care. Like, some people like it, some people don't. My problem is when you're starting to have unprotected sex.
Yeah.
And then you're bringing kids to the situation that they didn't even ask to be a part of,
Well, that's what when we talk about morals, that's where I think it hits, especially there, right? If you're having unprotected sex and you have multiple partners, that's where you could be potentially spreading diseases or having unwanted pregnancies and things like that. But I do think, Dame, don't take this to an offense or anything, but I do think once you hit a certain amount of partners, it says something about your impulse and your control. We were talking about this earlier and you guys were questioning me, but as a man, I wish that growing up, there was a way where I could have curbed my sexual appetite.
But
You know,
why?
like I was very controlled. I was very controlled. Like sex has never motivated me to, you know, go a certain direction in my life. It's never dictated what I do. But I've met so many men where everything, the way they dress, what car they get, what jobs they get, what clubs they go to, all dictate how much pussy they can get. And that's never been my thing. So to answer your question, why? It's because I don't like the idea of something controlling me. That's why I don't really do drugs. That's why
Yeah.
I don't drink. That's why I don't chase women. So for me, that's what it is. But I'm not shitting on anyone else's lifestyle. But I
Yeah.
do think, you know, some people are just way more impulsive than others, and you gotta control that shit. Dame, any response to anything that Patricia and I are saying?
I
These
mean,
two prude adults here. You see our clean little halos, you know.
no, I mean, you know, I guess we all grow up different. I don't know what else to say. Yeah,
He's
I
like,
mean,
he was gonna talk and he's like, oh, my mom and my dad are watching.
I was the exact opposite. I mean, even
You've
from
learned.
my teenage, no, of course, but you know, early on, me and a lot of my friends, we planned what we were going to do this weekend. The plan was revolved around achieving this goal, and that was it.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. See, now when I was real young, my first few experiences, I was a little bit like out of control. And then it got to the point where as I got older, it was just like, yo, Jew, what the fuck are you doing? Like, slow down, like stop.
It's probably
And I
lasted into my
realized really early.
30s.
I guess you know what it was? I ended up with a girlfriend that the relationship was crazy. And
You got
and that kind of
scarred.
scared me. It kind of scared me. It scared me straight, probably. You know, even when I broke up with her, it was because it was just too much drama. We were skipping school, we were doing all kinds of craziness. Having sex, I talked about it on the rooftop of my building. Like now here's the one thing though. I haven't had that many partners, but it's usually typically because my relationships last longer. You know, so
yeah,
you know, I was in a 9-year relationship. Now I'm in a 17-year relationship. So
Shit, that's half your life right there.
yeah. So
God damn.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess that'll take care of that. Body count.
All right. Body counts. Interesting
Big counts.
conversation.
yes, interesting conversation.
Yeah.
I just want to a PSA real quick PSA. Here we go. If you have a friend and her body count is high, doesn't necessarily mean that their surrounding friends are the same. That's it.
You know that I don't let me just add a question to that. Good PSA, Dame. You should listen. Anyway. But I will say, here's my question.
Wait, he's taking notes.
Here's my question. If you both were single, or when you were single, and you start talking to someone, does their body count factor into whether you hook up with them or not? For me, that's a yes. But
So
what about you guys?
I think that, of course, we all know that if a girl's body count is like, I don't know, more than 10, she's automatically a hoe. If the body count of a man is over 20, he must be good in bed, you know? So for me personally, I don't know, like,
I don't know if that equates right. If the man's had 20 or more partners, the idea that he's good in bed doesn't make sense, because if he was good in bed, he'd have that one woman who would keep coming back for more.
But I don't think that's a stereotype though.
The one
Listen, I've Yeah.
No, no, no,
I'm like,
no. If a man has 20 different women or multiple women, that's not indicative of how good he is. That's either indicative of how much money he has, how good looking he is, or what kind of game he has. But you don't
yes.
know what's gonna happen
It-
in that
oh,
moment.
Your question was, do you like I've never asked someone that I'm dating what
Really?
was their body. No, I don't
Never?
care. No.
Mm.
Mm-mm.
See, I kind of want to know,
You know,
but
you
I
know
don't
why
want to know details.
you know why I've never asked? Because I don't think they would be straight with me. I would think that if
Oh
they
well,
tell me,
that's a fact,
yeah, right. So why am I gonna ask if I'm not gonna get a real number? I mean, whoever,
especially
if
women.
all I care is, do you have any STDs? Let me see some blood work going. Let me look. You have any kind of sores in your mouth going on in there?
So
That's all I
Patricia, so
care
how
about.
about if you have a circle of friends
Yeah, I love this question.
Oh boy.
who the reputation of said person is astronomically high?
Hmm.
Does that factor in?
If she stays my friend,
No, 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 no.
huh?
A male that you might be interested in.
Hmm.
If he's part of your circle of friends and he has a reputation, if your friends say, "Yo, that dude's been with like 50 women,"
Hmm. I probably listen.
Dane, what about you? Women damage goods after a certain amount?
Oh, he's
At
thinking yes.
well, at that point of my life, I would have said yes.
But now you wouldn't?
No,
No,
See,
would you ask
because
now?
the truth is everybody lies. No one tells the truth, so you never really know. So what your perceived uh idea is based off of fallacy anyway. So
well, I
doesn't
picked
Yeah.
that 20 mark for a reason. I think if you've had over 20, shit, if you're a female, if I was like a teenager, you had over 10, I'm not fucking with you.
I mean, a teenager should not have like a lot.
But yeah, I've met a lot. Like,
I, I
I knew a girl who probably slept with like 15, 20 guys. Like, and we were what, like 14, 15 years old? I wouldn't have fucked her with Dame's dick.
if you knew about 15 or 20, it was probably like 45.
Right.
No.
That's my thinking.
Are you serious?
Facts.
There's some people watching this and be like, y'all slut shaming. And no, 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 no,
Not at
no.
all. I mean, at one point in my life, most definitely. When
I
I was
think, listen, I think everybody slut shames at one point or another.
There you go. Of course we do. Everyone
It's
does.
it's part of life.
then we grow up.
No,
And then
I still slut shame. Fuck all that shit. I
clearly,
don't know what the fuck Dame's talking about. Dame's like,
because you're like 20. I just thought you were just throwing a number.
Dame's like,
Yeah.
I never said a number.
we're all adults
No,
here.
no, no. I said to Julian because he said 20. I thought it was just a random number. Like he just
Mm.
thought about it. I didn't think he
Nothing.
had like a
Yeah, there's
alternative.
nothing random about Julian. It's
that was
all
my judgy attitude,
it's all
bringing up a
pre-orchestrated.
hypothetical. And anyway, body counts, that was interesting, but we got news to cover, guys.
Some real shit. Man,